To be or not to be, lots of intrigue trail Saturday's local government election in Rivers State. Some parties are pushing for the election to be cancelled, others are determined to carry on with the poll. What is the position of the electoral umpire in all of this? Just as the national leadership of the Interparty Advisory Council, IPAC, appeals to politicians in Rivers State to give peace a chance and desist from exploiting conflicting judgments from the courts. Also in Benue, the State Independent Electoral Commission says it is on top of its game ahead of the LG polls on Saturday, the 5th of October in the state. Meanwhile, stakeholders in Ondo State are calling for calm and voter enlightenment for peaceful governorship election as the November 16 governorship election in the state draws ever closer. We have this and more on political update. I'm Fisai Ogunfui. Welcome. Rivers State local government election slated for Saturday, that is tomorrow, the 5th of October, has experienced some push and pull from critical stakeholders. For an update, let's join live our reporter on ground in Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri. Kingsley, if you can hear me, what is the situation of things as far as the run-up to this election is concerned? All right, we will rejoin Kingsley. I understand that his signals are weak at the moment. We'll try and get back to Kingsley in Port Harcourt. We will rejoin him as soon as we can. But just to update you on what has been happening so far.
Who are, of course, divided over the issue and the legality or otherwise of this election, stemming from the fact that prior to this election scheduled to hold for tomorrow, Saturday 5th, there have been a number of litigations from those who are contending over the control of the local government administration in the state. At the moment, the State Police Command had issued statements saying, following the decision of the Federal High Court, it will not be participating in this election and also will not be providing security for this election, and also enjoined other security agencies also to toe the same line. But however, the Rivers State government has insisted that this election must go on as scheduled. And before now, we'll also put a call across to the State Independent Electoral Commission, who also, the authorities there, confirmed that they are going ahead with this election. At the moment, there is that kind of element of concern across board over the security of those who will be coming out for this election. Only just a couple of hours ago, the state chapter of the People's Democratic Party also, in a press statement, said it is not participating in this election, and also enjoined law-abiding citizens of the state to disregard the scheduled election because for them, the latest court decision from the Federal High Court should be obeyed by the authorities concerned for this election. By and large, I would say that while some are not willing or are not disposed to go ahead with this election, the others are saying that they are going ahead with this election. Lies with the State Independent Electoral Commission.
Thank you very much, Kingsley. I think you have made your point.
Either to hit the latest.
We can see your signals are freezing, but you have made your point. Just to tell you that Kingsley will also, be trying to interact with all the agencies concerned in, the elections there, and perhaps provide reports later on. So watch out in our subsequent bulletins and for updates from Port Harcourt as well. Let's welcome our guest from Port Harcourt. There we have a legal practitioner, Gift Ebulu. Is there in Port Harcourt joining us via Zoom. Thank you very much, Gift Ebulu from Port Harcourt. And of course, Honorable Sam Onuigbo, former lawmaker who was a member of the Joint Technical Committee on Electoral Bill. They, looked through the clause-by-clause consideration of the Electoral Act. Is also joining us, but he's here live in the studio. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. But let's start from Port Harcourt. We saw the gift of rain this time around, but from Port Harcourt. But at the same time, some clouds, trailing this whole exercise gift.
Yes. Well, good afternoon, Nigerians, and good afternoon, my good people of Rivers State. Good afternoon to you at the studio and my co-guest. It has been a rainy day in Port Harcourt, and we woke up to a lot of issues surrounding the election that is scheduled for tomorrow. We've seen protests from political actors, and we've also seen the conduct of the security personnel, which to some of us raises concern. But that has been the case. We await what happens later. But the state government has maintained that they are holding the election, and Rivers people, I believe, are ready for the election.
All right, let's welcome Honorable Simon Igbo. You pushed for this in the electoral bill while you were doing your clause-by-clause consideration. But what were your considerations looking at all this and the push and shove as to who does what? Court cases flying in and out. What are your comments as your early intervention, first of all?
Well, thank you very much, Fisayo, and good afternoon, viewers. Well, it's a source of concern that we are having the push and shove over this matter. What we tried to do when we were working in the Joint Technical Committee of the National Assembly that was chaired then by Senator Kabiru Gaya was to look for ways of ensuring that local government election is conducted in line with the provisions of the Electoral Act. And we were able to get that into the Electoral Act in Section 150, subsection 3, to say that you have to comply with the provisions of this act if you want to do local government election. And the reason why we did that is simple. It's because we realized that over the years, for nearly a quarter of a century now, the issue of local government election has now turned to appointment by the appointer. Well, they call it election, but once the ruling party, selects those they want to announce, and that's what they say is an election. So the reason we did that is to ensure that you comply, you follow procedures as laid out in the Electoral Act, to be able to have an election that embraces all. Not when the ruling party in any state prepares a list, announces the names, and they say they have had an election. So I pray that we will be able to do the right thing and make progress, because we've been in this confusion for almost a quarter of a century. And that's what I want to get out of it.
Let's go back to, Rivers. Gift Bulu is watching as well. But let's take this report of what happened earlier in the week. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission has said that it is has not handed over officially the register of voters to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISIEC, for the October 5th local government election in the state. The INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner Johnson Alalibo Senikiem disclosed this to journalists in Port Harcourt. Let's revisit this and then we'll talk some more.
Rivers State local government election scheduled for Saturday 5th October has been facing challenges and legal obstructions. The latest is the disclosure by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) that although the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission (RISIEC) has applied twice for a copy of the voter register, it was not released due to administrative constraints before a court order in Abuja further stopped them from releasing it.
The RISEC has written to us about 2 times for release of register, but we have not released before we received from our headquarters an order from Federal High Court restraining INEC from releasing the register. So up to now, we have not officially handed over the Rivers State voters register to the RISEC. We have not.
Resident Electoral Commissioner of INEC also comments on which of the conflicting court orders the commission will obey.
I have that of the Federal High Court from Abuja, which was sent to me by my headquarters, directing me to comply with the court order.
The various political and legal permutations have left residents in suspense ahead of the local government election scheduled to hold on Saturday.
Gift Ebulu, you heard that. What is your comment at this time?
Well, it's unfortunate to find ourselves in a country where institutions of government fail to live up to their mandates established by law. So, I just listened to what
Your signals are fading. We understand it's raining both here in Abuja and in Port Harcourt, so we'll try and reconnect. But Honorable Onugbo is right here. Honorable Onugbo, before I go to you, let's hear from the governor of Rivers State, Similai Fubara, who says the October 5th local government election in Rivers State has become sacrosanct, saying no amount, according to him, no amount of propaganda will stop the election. He stated this when members of the Rivers State Interparty Advisory Council, led by its chairman, So Swema Osaro, paid him a courtesy visit at the government house.
Governor Fubara, who is pleased with their position on this all-important exercise, said his conviction to conduct the local government elections stems from the Supreme Court judgment mandating every state in the country to put in place democratically elected local government executives.
This particular responsibility, ensuring that this election hold, is important that we defend this democracy. And we must start defending this democracy from the one that we have control over.
We have made it very clear that all of us that believes in the ideas of Gold River State, purposeful, leadership-driven River State under your administration, we stand tall with you to ensure that we succeed.
18 out of the 19 registered political parties were present at the meeting.
All right, and after that, there were, events overnight concerning Risiek. We understand that some armed men wanted to gain entrance and all that, some claims from the state. After that, the governor spoke again, and he just spoke this morning again concerning some developments and still insisting that the election, the local government election slated for Saturday the 5th, will go on as scheduled.
Court ruling said, don't give RISEC voters register. Don't give RISEC police protection. Did the judgment say seal the premises? Don't allow them to conduct election? However, the Rivers State government and the RISEC itself also had a judgment that states clearly conduct the election with the voters register of 2023. Police, DSS, Nigerian Army, and other sister agencies provide security. I might not be a lawyer, but I understand clearly that when it comes to issue of judgment, there is something they call first in time. So what is this special interest about the Federal High Court judgment? Secondly, why are they looking for a way to stampede the states? The Supreme Court gave a judgment that all local government activities must be conducted by elected officers. The President of the Federal Republic, in agreement with the state government, state governors, they agree that compliance to this judgment should be in 90 days with effect from the judgment. And every other state are conducting election to ensure that they comply with the directive, not just the Supreme Court, but also the understanding that we have with Mr. President.
There making his, thoughts known. That was just today. So let's bring in Gift Ebulu very quickly. You were making a point, but your signals weren't very strong. We heard from your governor now. We heard, but if the, agencies to provide security have not, have categorically said they are, abiding by the judgment, of the High Court. What would be your own, intervention at this time before I quickly bring in Honorable Onoigbo?
Yes. Before I go into them providing security or not, I was trying to make a point like institutions of government are meant to obey the laws of the state, which is in Nigeria as a whole or River State in particular. Now, in this circumstance, like there was a judgment given mandated to you 2020 voters register. You know that voters voted every year. And looking at the INEC of apply, I want if they have applied, what was the for not giving that updated register? And does it take years to release a register that you have?
I may not be able to make an intervention on that, but based on what the Rex said, and we played that earlier, they were getting ready to do that, putting it together while before they could hand it over, they had that judgment. But that is what we heard from them. We would wait to see that your signal is strengthened, but Honorable Onoigbo is jumping at the beat. Honorable Onoigbo, you didn't foresee all this when you were putting up, a lot of things in the Electoral Bill Now Act, a couple of years ago. That's 3 years ago now. But now we're having a hydra-headed issue as far as local government elections are concerned, the autonomy. Of course, there's been a rush to make sure we have, elected executives based on the Supreme Court judgment. And now states, of course, all of a sudden, everybody's making sure that, those local government helmsmen have the legitimate backing of the people in terms of, votes to be able to access funds. But talking about the local government, administration itself, to be effective, what are the pointers, especially as enshrined in some of the clause-by-clause considerations that you went through just 3 years ago?
Well, it's very simple to know what the rush is all about. One is that for this number of years, some states failed to do local government elections, and they were doing appointment, interim administrator and all that. So with the Supreme Court judgment of 11th of July this year, it became very, 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 very important that all the states must comply with the Supreme Court judgment, and they must have democratically elected local government system in place. But what we found out, and part of what is driving them, is that if you look at how much money that the local government got, between January 2023 to June, and how much they have received between January 2024 to June, you will discover a massive difference of about 2.5 trillion, increase. And this money stays within the state, even though they are supposed to go to local government. So, and that's why the Section 162 was an issue in that judgment. And unless we do away with these bottlenecks, I refer to them as state institutions, quite all right. The provision in Section 124 that talks about the State Independent Electoral Commission, and also in Section 197 that also refers to them. Just need to do away with them, because for 25 years now that we've been running a democratically elected system of government, we have not seen any progress. If you look at this difference now of over 2.5 trillion between January 2023 to June and January 2024 to June 2024. We are still looking for the impact of this huge amount. We are not seeing it because this money usually stays, with the state government. They don't get there. So the struggle now is to ensure that they are able to control this fund. But it's important that before you get to this, people have to be democratically elected. It has to be that they were elected by the people, not that they were announced. Because this announcement, the power of the appointee over the appointee is too strong. And we are going to continue, and it's now the responsibility of the National Assembly, the 10th National Assembly, to ensure that amendments are effected in the Constitution to deal with these sections that have created the State Independent Electoral Commission that has not actually played this role for a quarter of a century.
Time is not our friend, Barrister Gift Ebulu. To be or not to be, local government elections are in Rivers State in the next 24 hours.
The election, there is no law limiting the RISEC or prohibiting the RISEC to not go ahead with the election. There was a judgment that mandated them to go ahead with the election, and that judgment is judgment of the High Court of Rivers State. So the judgment of the Federal High Court, which came late, did not even, it should be noted, not to stop the election. The judgment only trained the institutions like the police from providing security, and INEC providing the service.
And you don't think
stop research with the conduct of the election, and we believe the election. That is the position of.
Okay, if in terms of eventuality, Barrister, Barrister, in terms of eventuality, I need you to take this alongside it so that, because we are wrapping up very quickly, alongside this, in terms of eventuality, if there are some aggrieved people as far as the conduct of the exercise is concerned, and you don't have, security agencies who should be legitimately there to provide security and ensure that everything is spick and span, wouldn't that be ab initio a process that, has started on the faulty ground?
Well, that you have stated rightly can be an eventuality. And also, regarding the point that almost all the political parties, except the People's Democratic Party, are interested in the conduct of the election. And the people of Rivers State are willing to exercise their franchise tomorrow. It is unfortunate, that's the point I was trying to make, that an institution of a state funded by taxpayers' money, like the Nigerian police, cannot obey a court judgment that was earlier made, but choose to obey a judgment that was just delivered a couple of days ago. That is a setback. Nigeria is a constitutional democracy, and institutions of government are meant to obey and abide by the provisions of the law. In this instance, why will the IGP choose not to obey the judgment of High Court of Rivers State? It's only an issue of maybe who is playing the role of who, or dancing to the tune of who, because the security of the people are important.
Barrister Ebulu, let me very quickly, because you've made your point, of course, and you are also a stakeholder. Hopefully, maybe you'll be out tomorrow, depending on how the weather is, and of course your inclinations.
Yes.
Very quickly, let me bring Honorable Onuigbo in very quickly. Honorable Onuigbo, we are likely to see things like this, moving forward in terms of conduct of this exercise, this push and shove we are seeing, and of course the rush to get these things over the line, especially in terms of the huge monies you have spoken about. Very quickly, we have about a minute. What are your comments very quickly?
Well, I have no doubt whatsoever that once the National Assembly, the 10th National Assembly, work on this section of those sections that have referred to, section 124, subsection 4 and 197, to deal with the issue of the state independent. For me, I haven't seen anything coming out of the state independent electoral commissions, because I had a particularly bitter experience in Abuja State, where a group of people who were screened and cleared just because that their leader moved to another party overnight, just on the eve of the election. They now brought in people who were never screened, who did not buy form, and announce them as those who won the election the following day with an opposition party. And then on the day of swearing in, after they were sworn in, they moved back to that. That's not a sign of anybody holding election. Has it surprised you that in all the states, no matter whether you have 3 senators from the opposition party, House of Reps members, the states in power, the party in power in that state will win 30 over 30, 27 over 27, 21 over 21. Is that an election?
All right, that is it. That is the program. We'll find out how that will be tomorrow. Many thanks to Barrister Gift Bulu from Port Harcourt, Honorable Simon Igbo here in Abuja, our reporter Kingsley Amajiri on the streets of Port Harcourt, and you for watching. I will be back again on Tuesday. Between now and then, play your politics for the greater good, and keep you logged on Nigerian Television Authority, especially on updates from Port Harcourt this weekend for news reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.